thanks. Now, I haven't got a clue what I'm going to say. Probably is the best thing, right? I'm going to start with. Now, we're here on an occasion that, should I say, is a very special one, yeah? Now, it's all about the launch of Elizabeth Hamilton's brand spanking new book, all right? It's called In Relation to Men, us guys, all right? Now, I've got my copy of it. I'm looking forward to sitting down later on and reading that, you know what I mean? Yeah, that should be very interesting. Now, I must say, by the way, that it's been a good and a long journey for this young lady. I've known her for quite some time, right here, me growing up in Manchester, particularly working on radio in West Side. And whilst Peace FM was the biggest station going, and we had the breakfast show, myself and Cookie used to present that on a Thursday, Friday mornings, all right? Very, very popular, everybody listened to it, yeah? And then to see Cookie now move away from radio broadcasting and gone into publishing, all right? It's just the next step up, all right? When I heard that she had written a book, I was extremely surprised, very, very surprised about that actually. I was very keen to find out about it, all right? Now, we had a conversation on the radio and it was very interesting. This is the end result of that, all right? So, first and foremost, let's give this young lady a round of applause for her achievement in writing this book. When you're thinking about writing, all right, you have to have a special skill for that. You have to have an interest for that, all right? And this young lady seems to have had that, all right? So this is just the first of many books. It says part 1 in relation to men, part 1. So who knows? It's serious, all right? Might be Netflix, you know?
It's a 5-part series.
5-part, there you go, folks. So, know that we can expect part 2 when? The end of this year?
No, it will be out by the end of this year. It should actually be in your hands or your bookshelves by the end of this year.
All right, there you have it. All right, now, Marcia, stand up, my desk, get a round of applause, because Marcia's done an exclusive. Give her a round of applause, all right? She's actually the publisher behind Elizabeth's book, all right? And thank you very much, my dear, for taking the interest in publishing this book, all right? And I'm looking forward to reading it. Has anybody here read the book?
Yes.
You've read it? In relation to men. What's it saying? It's saying good things about us men?
Yes, I've read it.
Yeah.
You've read it?
Yes,
It says good things about us men?
It's quite balanced. I think it's
Yeah.
an education, to be quite honest with you. Because what I like about it is the beauty in her writing.
Yeah.
And the way a lot of us go through these life experiences.
Okay,
And I think
okay.
it's nice to be brave enough to put them in a book so that we all can learn from
Yeah.
it. And I would recommend everybody to get a copy.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Especially if you're raising sons.
Yes.
Very important.
So on a final note, then the book is not here to destroy men or to put us down, but as you said, it brings a balance, all right? And taking up, putting a particular interest out there, yeah? All right, that's good. Anyway, so listen, we're gonna have a great day today. We're here until at least 4:30, going on 5 o'clock, all right? Enjoyed it, we've got refreshment. We've got the books over here. If you haven't got a copy, you can go and buy it and have it signed personally by Elizabeth herself, all right? So it's all good. Have a great day, all right? And how can I forget? How can I forget? Let me have a copy of this money. You see, the family now, ladies and gentlemen, is telling us that it's a talented family because her daughter has also written a book, yeah? Jamal Eats a Rainbow.
Wrote the book. The son
Sons wrote the book
and the daughter illustrated
What
it.
side TV? No, don't edit that. Keep it in, my man. This is real. Sorry, I do apologize. Son written a book, all right? Jamal Eats a Rainbow. Okay. Now, this is very interesting. I might have to call you on the radio to do an interview about this one because it'll be very interesting to find out about eating a rainbow. You know what I mean? Skittles, is it?
What is it?
Not Skittles. Fruits.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I like that. Anyway, also published by the same publisher, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Anyway, as I said, look, let me just keep quiet right now. I'm getting out of here, so enjoy the day. The books are here. You want to get a signed copy, please do so. Have a fantastic day today, all right? And chill, okay? Let me go and say hello to Mostside TV. All good.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Introduce yourself,
Did I not
Your
introduce
name.
myself? Oh,
To the
sorry,
audience.
sorry, I do apologize. My name is Sam Brown, the infamous one, all right? From the rave many years ago up to now. I'm still surviving, yeah? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
All right, no problem.
Oh, might we also say Sam boost yourself a little bit. Sam gave us Gabrielle. Sam also gave us Cleopatra. He's also artist manager and DJ and has worked on many of local community radio stations in the past in community work.
And incidentally, whilst you're on the subject, if anybody knows a good female vocalist, I'm looking for one for an album that we're working on right now, okay? So anybody knows? You got my contact, Cookie, just give me a shout, okay?
Okay.
All right,
thank
no
you so
problems.
much.
All right,
Why didn't
well-
you ask me before?
Because I was talking about Cookie's book. Or-
Right, back to the launch. So, I'm going to let you know about my story. Thank you very much, Sam Brown, for that amazing
No
introduction.
problem.
Okay,
Thank
so
you, Sam.
I'm Elizabeth. Some of you know me as something other than that. Today I am Elizabeth. Elizabeth is my middle name. Hamilton is my paternal surname, and this name also belongs to my great grandmother. So I'm hoping that when I'm speaking, you're going to hear that maturity and wisdom in my words. Okay. Right. So it's a little bit about me. I think. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so this was my youth. This is a little image of my youth and what I sort of took in lots of other things. But these, if anybody remembers any of these type of cartoons, does anybody remember any of these? Nope. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so that there was my youth being Black British. Okay. And this was the TV shows that we had. So this is what we had to relate to in real life. You know what I mean? And all of these, which there's nobody that we can relate to. And then these, which are people that we probably hope to relate to. Does anybody remember this one? The whole of my family used to race downstairs for this one here. It was a BBC programme. It was called No Problem.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay, that was one of my favourite out of all of them. And the reason it was because it was more identifiable to what life was. They had family that had come over from Jamaica and they didn't have enough room in the house. So they built a tent in the back garden and people were living in that as well. It just seemed much more relatable in real life to me. And so from that, I used to think to myself, all these Marvel comic cartoons and etc. I loved them, but it was kind of weird because I always saw us, when I say us, I saw our history in these things. Go into it more, I started studying a bit about Stan Lee's whys and why he'd written those comics, and he'd actually taken it from Black history, taken it from chiefs and kings and queens. So it's Marvel, this go Marvel, it's us, you know what I mean? We are marvelous, bit corny, but yeah.
It's all right.
So I studied so many things, got so many certificates. I've got law certificates, I've got counselling certificates, business studies certificates, hairdressing and beauty therapy certificates. I've got some, but they didn't actually mean nothing. I was constantly frustrated, you know what I mean, feeling like the odd one out all the time and questioning myself. It just got to a point where there was this, it just felt like fog and I just couldn't understand why I was here. You know, I don't know if anybody's ever had that feeling where you're like, Scotty, beam me up, I don't belong here, you know. And then it was a case of, well, rather than feeling like an odd one out, start embracing that. You know, there's professions where the person being the odd one out is actually it's a positive for the team, it's a pro for the team, so that's what it's about, us all celebrating our differences. You know what I mean? So that's where I started doing my own analysis of my life and realising that my light within was my connection to this planet here. It was what I was given to it, that was what I needed to work on. And so I started working, changing the bad things to the good things. I know this is all crazy, and I did this for my daughter this morning and she was just like, Mum. Anyway, what's this? Okay, so the shark's there because Jaws was the first film that ever gave me a nightmare. Okay. But it helped me to handle situations and stay calm in situations where people would normally panic and outcrying. And this arm situation is one that I won't talk about with the children because it's a little bit traumatic, but it helped me to start dealing with issues like that. Bad boys don't have to remain bad boys, you know what I mean? They could have that image, but they can't always be good boys and become better. Yeah. It's always about that turnaround. you can turn discrimination into empowerment, because we suffer discrimination just by being born in this country and being the shades of the colours that we are. We are born to face discrimination, but we can overcome that with empowerment. We can empower each other, you know what I mean, share our stories, share our pros and our cons, our negatives and our positives, and we can get through this. So that was my goal, and that's part of the reasons why I got to write. And I did a little timeline here, but I'm going to rush through this.
Take your time.
I feel like I need to rush through a little bit because we are a little bit short on time and we ask you for the things. But I don't know if you can see this. It's a little bit. Can I make this a bit bigger? I can. It's a little bit small, and we are on a small screen. So basically, in 1995 to 1997, I got my health and beauty NVQ, hairdressing and beauty therapy NVQ, and decided that I didn't want to do that when I got to having to do feet and female pubes. Not because of the fact that it wasn't something I had contemplated, but I was taught on a different basic hygiene than the people that were coming in, so it was just really, really off-putting. So I decided that I didn't want to do that no more. I went on to business administration. I did my NVQ 1, 2 and 3 business management, and then decided that I wasn't sure if that was the way I wanted to go after I became a mother. I didn't want to be sitting in an office and doing the same thing every day. I just thought I just cannot live that life. So I was like, okay, let's go into counselling. So I thought, yes, I can do that. I got my counselling, NVQ 1, 2 and 3 in person-centred counselling, and then decided I couldn't be on... Counsellors are like the craziest people ever. Not in a bad way, they're really good because they understand, but my supervisor used to rock on a chair when she was doing my session. And I used to think, is that what I'm trying to attain? The rocking, like, I do that already, I can do that. So we moved on. 2002 to 2007, I was almost married. I was doing the engaged thing and preparing my family and everything, and I thought the dream was coming true. Yeah, it wasn't. So in 2007 to 2010, I decided to study law. Thought, well, I'm going to help them on this side of it now. I'm doing the counselling and helping on the side when it's already gone wrong. I can't really do that. I want to help them to understand why things are going wrong. I want to change the things and these loopholes that I see people walking through. I want to be able to show them to my people. Only when I started doing law, I realised those loopholes are made to cage my people out. We can't get through those holes. It's a one-way in thing, you know. It's not created that way, and until you learn it, you don't actually understand it. You know, that I went through law and understood that when my grandparents came to this country, they didn't actually realise that they were selling us into a system because they didn't understand the legalities of what was happening between the time when they left their country and the time when they were able to get off the boat in this country. They didn't understand the difference between maritime law and laws of the land. They didn't understand any of this, and this was never going to be told to them because it would have empowered us in a way that possibly couldn't have been done at that point in time. It would have turned everything upside down. So now we're in the generations where we can do it with a more wholesome attitude, partly because of the fact that we can't maintain a one culture. We are a mixed culture, we are diverse. In every single one of our families, we see every different shade of chocolate, right the way down to white chocolate. So how can we discriminate against anybody? And that is where we're at now. Anyway, so I did motherhood again and decided that I can do this, I can actually make a difference in this, you know what I mean? And went back into corporate law to start trying to change things on that level and realised that I'm the only one there trying to do this, till the corporates turn on me. And basically did the gaslighting thing, etc. You know, a lady would say to me, "You're lucky to have your position," as if I got the position by just smiling. No, I had 3 interviews and another 3 because they messed up with the first process. So that took me 6 interviews to get that job. I had earned that job and my qualifications had got me that job, which was why I was in that job. But then I realised, because I was the last point of any adverse experiences, that being that everybody above me, the next stage from my department was the law department, the legal department, and the directors. And nobody above that had any complexion difference from Caucasian. So that made it very, very difficult to get them to understand where I was coming from. At that point, I did get Unite the Union in. We have the same problem with the unions. If the unions can't identify with us, where are we going to get to? But that's led me to where I am today, writing my story and trying to explain to people exactly what we go through rather than keeping it to myself. Rather than sweeping under the carpet and putting under the rug like we normally do, I thought, let me start doing that. And in embracing myself, I have become an author. I have also become a tutor. I'm a qualified public speaker now with my certificate. And not that it matters anything, but yeah, and now my children, I'm also a motivator because I've motivated my children to become authors as well, which just makes me smile even more. And this here is my parent assistance map. Like they said, my book's a little bit more of an education rather than an experience. It's not just about me telling you the experiences, it's about me letting you know the things that could hinder or could harm the growth in another or in ourselves as well. So this is what the points that I think is really important to pay attention to as parents. That's just my idea of it. You don't have to take it on. So 8 to 11 years, you've got puberty. I went through puberty. I was a popular nerd, you know what I mean? I don't know if we understood what being a popular nerd was then, but that's what I was. I had loads of social anxiety from the beginning. I had the first trip to my parents' birthplace, and I believe that that was a wholesome experience for me. I think it's so important for everybody to take their children back to where their parents were born, and for them to visit where their parents were born. Because without us knowing our roots, we can never detect what our branches are going to be. Yeah? So when you're doing this, there's changes going on, so just discuss them, even if it's embarrassing, if it's an embarrassing change for you, even them going through puberty, because with my son, he started in that process now, and it's really embarrassing for me at times, but it is. But we make it into a comedy and we make it into a joke to try and get through little issues, because then at least you've addressed it, you know what I mean, and the child knows that you're aware of what's going on for them, and they can see that it might be as uncomfortable for you as it is for them talking about it sometimes. 12 to 16, I went from a unisex school to a mixed school. I thought it was the worst thing for me in my life, because I was a popular nerd. I didn't need to be any more from that essence. But then we had a change of city and had to make new friends, and we also experienced a family disconnect. Now, during those years, I think it's important to make time for your children, to share your experiences, because you're going through things as well. Even if any of these things happen, if you're changing school, anything, changing city, anything like that, if you're having an issue with your family, speak to your children about it, because it's their family too, okay? You may be able to come across a platter where you've got a medium that you can negotiate on and make things that little bit better. 17 to 25 years, I experienced independence, a proper partnership. Thank you, Blacks. There's my proper partnership in that one. From the last interview, anybody that's seen it on Moss I Talk TV. And parenthood. And I went through the whole ego versus ID issue. I'm not sure if anybody knows about the ego versus ID. It's when we attain to be what we think we should be rather than what we know we are. Yeah? So as parents, the best thing to do for your child when they're going through that experience, and some people go through it in that adulthood state, that it doesn't stop at 25. That's where it was for me. But the best thing to do is support them, advise them, but don't order them. You know, embrace your baby being an adult and maybe a new friend to you. You know what I mean? And you'll get through that relationship that little bit better. I see my daughter squinting up her cheeks now because I'm still going through this, embracing her, being an adult, you know what I mean? Because sometimes she still acts like my baby. So, yeah, but support is the best you can do. You're working together and we're all learning. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's got to the end of it yet. So I want to give a big appreciation to, this is my mum and my dad. Yeah, I don't hide them. I'm very, very aware of who they are and what they are, and I'm proud to be me, because I wouldn't be me if they didn't meet and make me. Moss I Talk TV, very proud of them. Thank you for being here for me from the beginning. Powerhouse for the venue where we are. Carol, Miss Carol, for her Dolly May series. Yeah. I don't know if Sandra's here as yet, so we'll skip past that. M&M Publishing, that's my publisher, my children's publisher, Sam Brown, interviewed us. You'll see him at the next event. Empowering Dyslexia is here at the next event as well. And these are the charities that have come from starting this. My book, anybody that's bought this book, 25% of the profits to that book actually go to sponsoring a charity which is found in Naya, and they provide home education classes and community workshops as well.
I do the whole meditation classes.
Does. Right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to a little bit of more intimate questions with my author, and if the children want to do some animations, are we going to do that? Are we doing that? Yeah? You're not sure? Okay then, alright. We're not sure. I don't know if there's going to be any animations today. The animators, the illustrators a little bit like. So what there is going to be some children's reading in the library. So I'm going to introduce you to Miss Carol, who's wrote the Donny May series. She's going to tell you a little bit about her books, and then any children that want to hear that book, she will be reading that in the library with you, whilst we do a little bit of question answer that are a bit more adult, a bit more mature for them. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
You come in afterwards. No, you come in when the children come back, so you go sit up there. Hi.
Well, this is a great opportunity to be here, and I feel really privileged, you know, and honored to be invited by this amazing author. And we met by sheer coincidence about less than a year ago. I'm not sure if you can hear me, but what I discovered that we all not just been a writer, but we had things in common. And when she told me her story, I would actually call her a daughter, to be quite honest with you. So, you know, I think that we have so many skills and qualities within us. We're not just sisters, we're not just mothers, you know. We are got a lot of other things as well as the melanin, and we are one race of people. And so it was just so warm and loving. I felt that I've got the bond, I developed a bond with Naomi, and that is all due to because she knows my son. Unknowingly, I knew nothing. So when we're having children, what she's touched upon is so important, because they are out there making acquaintances, and the way we live is so important to them and the kind of community that we are holding. So today we're here to celebrate this young woman in all her greatness and all her beauty. And we mustn't forget that. And we're here to support one another and lift up one another through this journey that she's been on. And I'm just so inspired by her. And you know how old I am today, 68.
Oh, I forgot to say, yeah, it's Miss Carol's birthday, everybody, so happy birthday. Thank you so much for letting me share it with you.
Yes. So here we are. I myself became an author in 2019, and so, you know, I couldn't have missed today. My daughter was like, "Mom, what are you doing?" My sons, "What are you doing?" I was like, "No, I've got to go and see and support." I call her Naya because she was named Naya by my son.
Yes,
and so that story has really inspired me as a mother. So we're just going to wish her well, and the children, the fact that, you know, what she's doing is paving the way for all of us, you know, all your children out there, those young children that are here today, to say that they can do it, they too can become a great author. And what's so amazing about this, she's also got her children on board, so that she's showing us today, work with our children. And some of us as adults, our parents came to this country, they didn't work with us, we were just farmed out. And, you know, as much as we love them, but it was no fault of theirs that they didn't understand what the schools were putting us through.
And can I just say with that, may I just introduce one of my stepmothers, Val Rose Dunn, who was also one of my educators and used to work in the youth club, which was in this very same spot, Moorside Youth Club. I did maths and English with Val Rose and Judy Craven, if anybody remembers her as well. So, and Val Rose will tell you about the expanse of how important it is for children to get that extracurricular study especially when they're not grasping it in schools, because schools can't teach it in the way that we can comprehend it.
Yes, wonderfully said. Yeah. So I'm not going to take up much time because I've got to go and do the reading with the children. So my 2 books that are written, and Naomi said, come and bring your books for sale, and I said no, because we're here to celebrate you. This is your day, and so I didn't. So just talk to you briefly. The first one, the reason this was written, and Naomi's touched upon that, when we were growing up, we never saw ourselves in picture books. So we were fed the European narrative. And so some of the difficulties we are having, self-esteem, confidence, if you just look at the history that we've had, we've been force-fed European history that don't look like you and I, don't identify us, and all the beauty and everything that we've been given by that divine creator. So this book is to encourage you, to inspire you, to dream big and to realize that you can be whoever you want to be. So this is where we all have things in common. We have a rich history, you know, we've got work to do. And books is one of the tools that can help us to deliver our message. I'm not going to take up too much time. The second one is an alphabetical book that was done in Jamaica, growing up in Jamaica, and just talking about that childhood experience and so forth. So I know time is valuable, so I'm not going to go into any great detail. They're available to buy from me or my website. If you need any, you can get more details from Naomi.
There'll be a link to the Dolly May website on my website by the end of the week.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
thank
you. And I've already bought her 2 books, so here you are. Support her, Manchester Girl, Young Woman Day. You're welcome, my darling. All the best. Love you to bits.
So any of the children that want to go and hear the Dolly May story, they can go now with to the library with Miss Carol to have a reading of Dolly May. Yeah? I think Zion's already there waiting for you. So what she said, but yeah, you can go now. Drawing in 10 minutes, I don't know how much children you've got left, Meecha, for that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite my publisher back to the stage, and we're going to have a little, I'm going to take a seat now, and I'm going to be getting questions, so I'm not going to be doing as much talking.